Hey everyone, Pastor George here with today's Bible study recap. And today in Bible study we looked at Hosea 3, which is just not that long. I mean, what is this thing? It's like 5 verses. Yeah, so it's not a lot of verses, but there's a lot of detail in there that helps us to see kind of the prophetic vision that God has for Israel. So, as we talked about before, right, Hosea is written during a time period where Israel and Judah are divided, right? So there used to be a united kingdom. They've broken apart because of the bad stuff Solomon did. Really, if you want, if you want to get down to it, and so you have two different houses of power that are there, and Hosea is really present in the northern kingdom, and that's really what he is talking about and talking to. And in this northern kingdom, the people have begun to syncretize their belief in Baal with the belief of Yahweh. And so they put them together and they've started to teach or conflate what God is doing with what Baal is doing, right? So all the prosperity that they've gotten since they have been in the promised land, they've been not giving it to the Lord. And so you can kind of see this in the life of Hosea, right? And so what's going on here is Hosea is told by God to have a relationship with a woman named Gomer, right? To marry her. They're going to have 3 kids. These 3 kids have names. If you want to know more about that, you can look at the past 2 Bible study lessons. But it's meant to mirror God's relationship with Israel, right? A covenantal relationship. So just like a man and woman get married in a covenant of marriage, so too God married Israel in the covenant at Sinai, right? Then they go into the promised land, and Hosea's wife Gomer is unfaithful to him. You see this play out in the chapter that we read for today, just like the Israelites are unfaithful to the Lord with their worship of other gods. But that's not where the story ends, right? For most people's relationships, this would be divorce. This would be the end of whatever sort of relationship was there, and that would be it, right? Everyone would do that and walk away. And certainly many people in our culture would understand that as being fine. In fact, many of us, I'm sure who've maybe been in relationships like this completely understand that, right? But God is saying that his relationship with Israel is not like that of humans, right? That he doesn't give up on Israel, even though they've done wrong and some terrible things, right? We know how the Canaanites worship their gods. We know how Israel would fall into that because we have records of that in the books of Kings, and so they deserve judgment. They're going to get it. But that's not where the story ends, right? Because eventually God will return Israel to himself, and we see prophecy of this in Hosea. And so the rest of Hosea is going to go between kind of the promise of what God is going to do, the judgment and justice he's going to bring, but also it's going to end with the upshot about what he's going to do ultimately. And you see so much in here, messianic detail, which is what is picked up a lot from Hosea in the New Testament. But you might remember that God in the last part of chapter 2 talks about how he's going to win Israel back to himself, right? He's going to betroth them in faithfulness and things like that. And so we see here Israel is represented in Hosea's wife Gomer, who leaves to go after her lovers. And then the Lord commands Hosea to go and ransom her back, basically pay off all the debts she's accrued to her lovers and bring them back. So they get that money, right? And then he brings her back. It seems like a ridiculous thing to do, like that you would require someone to do that. But here, right, the Lord is showing how he is going to win back Israel, right? And here I think we can easily see the promise of Christ, right? And there's even this point that is made that this is going to come to fruition in the latter days. And for us as Christians, we know the latter days is the time when Jesus appears to the time when he will come again. And so that's what the Lord is all building this up to. And the rest of the book of Hosea, which we're going to look at in depth as we go kind of chapter by chapter, or sometimes I guess we'll do two at a time, is just looking at what the Lord is cooking up. So that's what we talked about today. Hope you find that interesting. I'll see you tomorrow for an episode of A New Thing, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace out.